Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Becky. You can find me on Instagram as @BeckyKnits or on Ravelry as Becky Mundy. Thank you for joining me. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back, and if you're new, then welcome and thank you for clicking on my video. This is my podcast where I talk about knitting, mostly knitting, sometimes a bit of sewing, what else, like books, yeah, just anything. I just, mostly it's knitting, and then anything can happen after that. So, oh, I've not got my iPad set up. I was very organised last night and wrote my notes. It's quite simple this week because I've not got a lot to talk about. But we'll see. I can probably still fill like 40 minutes. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is an FO. I told you last week that the next time you saw it, it would be finished. And it is... Oh, that's the wrong way around. This is the wrong... I am so pleased with how it turned out. I love it. It's a really great width and a really great length. It's a bit longer than it is wide, I think. Yeah, but yeah, it's like worked out perfectly, considering that I didn't follow a pattern. I just kind of cast on some stitches until it felt right, and then just went with it. So there we are. Here are the colours. This is colours from my a couple of years ago Christmas in July calendar from The Lonely Knitter. So here are all the colours. Just kind of move through reasonably quickly. So there we go. I really, really love it. I held it double. Should have kept that ball band with me, but I forgot to. Held it double with Cumulus by Fibre Spats, whatever it's called, which is like a mohairy type thing, so it has got a nice sort of halo, and it's nice and squishy, and it's super cozy. But I think because it's not enormous, it's not too warm, so I have been able to get a little bit of use out of it, like in the evenings when it's a bit cooler, because I mean, like now I don't need it. I'm like, yeah, comfortable in t-shirt in the house. Yeah, but sometimes in the evening when things just cool off a little bit, this is perfect to just go over my lap. Yeah, so I love the drape of it. I haven't blocked it, didn't really think it was necessary. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised because, and pleased, because my children love to play with blankets. They yeah, they're like capes and cloaks and caves and all sorts of things, and so I was a little bit worried that this was going to get like destroyed before I even had time to show it to you, but they've kind of left it alone. I don't think they've really noticed that it's hanging about, so I'm pleased. It usually lives on the back of this chair, and I just snag it if I need it. I'm sure it won't take long before they find it, and then once they find it, I think they're gonna like it because it's squishy. So that's it. That is my FO. Super pleased to have a finished object again, and very happy that this is done. It has been a long time in the making. I think I cast this on October 2021, because I took it with me on a holiday. We went on to Wales, so I think I cast it on either while I was there or like just before we went. But yeah, so it's been a long-term project. It's interesting though, because it was like, it took me forever, years, to get through the first 3 stripes, and then the rest of it I have knit in the last 4 months, so 3 months. So yeah, but it's done. Whee! So really pleased with that, and I had little amounts left over. I don't know if they're going to be enough to knit Cozy Memories square. I've forgotten how much my Cozy Memories squares weigh, so I might need to try and figure that out and see if they're big enough. Otherwise they'll go into a different project. So that's that. Whips. I have been working on 2 or 3 things. I've got like 2 new whips and then a whip that I think I have shown you before, which I will show you. Again, this has been living in my bag for me to knit whilst I'm out and about. I am into the foot. The yarn is Skein and the Stitch Tropical Fish colourway, which she doesn't dye anymore. Sorry. And the pattern is one that I am writing up called Minnows. So there we go. It's just a nice texture. It's kind of making the fabric feel a bit thicker, but I don't think it is going to be like any warmer. It just feels a bit thicker. But yeah, so there we go. I think last time you saw it, I had just turned the heel. I've done a fish lips kiss heel like I usually do. So I think I had just put that in last time I showed it to you, and yeah, it's gotten a little bit of work when I've been sitting in cafes, or that's basically it really. I think I've had like a couple of cafe trips and I've worked a little bit on it. So yeah, that is the first sock. I have not touched any of my other whips, you know, sock whips. I finished my like pride flag first of that sock last week and haven't touched it. And there was another sock, my bookshelves sock. I haven't cast on the second one of that either, but I think today my plan is to try and make sense of my notes from knitting that and try and get something that's test knittable ready for people to test knit. So keep your eye open on my Instagram for like a call for that, hopefully coming soon. The other things I have started, I'm saving the best for last for my whips. I have lots of little scrappy ends. I've been making some magic knot balls. These ones are coming to an end, but I've got 2 magic knot balls here. And I have cast on, if that's what you say for crochet, a granny stripe blanket. As you can see, it's very early days, but I'm really liking how it's turning out. I seem to have this problem every time. I've done my cast on and I used a larger needle size or hook size, but it's still like too tight. I'm kind of just hoping that when it's big enough and I put a border on it, I can just kind of hide that issue. If I'm not going to be able to hide this issue, please tell me now so that I can find an even bigger hook size to start again. But yeah, there we are. It is quite wide. I was hoping that it could be kind of double bed size, but we'll see. I might, if I have to cast it on again, then I might make it a bit smaller. So, because when Rory saw me working on it, he said, "Are you making my blanket?" So maybe I'll make Rory a blanket. But yeah, is this going to be an issue that I'm not going to be able to sort out later? Let me know. If I pull it, like, I can pull it straight. So my thinking was, yeah, that if I put a border on it, then I can kind of force it to stay straight. I don't know. But yeah, I'm holding the yarn double. I had previously cast on one of these and was just doing 4-ply, just held single, and it was going so slowly. And I can't remember who it was. Oh, I was watching Cherie, Ollie Bella, and she said that she's crocheting a granny stripe blanket, and that yeah, she wishes she'd held double, or maybe not that she wishes she had, but that she just found that the 4-ply was going a bit slow, and that she maybe should have thought about holding a double. So I immediately ripped mine out because it was only about this much, and decided that I too thought that it needed to be held double. So there we go. So best for last. I'm so excited. I love this project so much, and I'm like feeling really impatient for it, but I'm also just thoroughly enjoying making it. And that is my sea glass tea, which is a design by Woolen Pie Designs, and I feel like the light in here is just not showing it to its best, but oh my gosh, I love this project so much. I'm loving working on it. I'm loving seeing how it's like turning out. Yeah, I'm so excited. So I think I mentioned last week that I wanted to cast one of these on, and I was looking at my like scraps, leftover scraps from socks and things like that, but larger scraps. And then again, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I was then like, oh, I've got an advent calendar, maybe I could do something with my advent calendar from last year, particularly with wanting to get another advent calendar or two this year, that it would probably be a good idea to try and use my previous advent calendar. So I thought, I did do a plan with me video on Wednesday, which I will link, where I went talk a lot more about my thought process when I was planning this out. I had lots of questions, I had lots of ideas, lots of concerns about how it was going to work up, and lovely people over on Instagram helped me decide a few things, and it's all working great. So here is an update. If you saw it on Wednesday, I have knit quite a bit more. Don't think I'd done, I'd done one increase round maybe when I'd done the video, and now I've done three increase rounds. So so yeah, it's moving along. I've almost knit through all of my minis once, so these are the ones I have left to add. You can't really see in the bag. These are the ones I have left to add. And then I'm just going to start again. You know, I'm not going to look and try and go in the same order, but I will just, these are where I put them when I've knit them. I'll just tip them all back out, muddle them all up, put them back into this bag, and start pulling them out again. When I went through through them the first time, I was a little bit selective about where I put them, just to try and spread out where the pinks went, because there's quite a lot of pinky colours, so I wanted to sort of try and spread those out a little bit, and that seems to have worked fine. But I think unless I pull two pinks that are very similar out one after the other when I go through again, I'm just gonna pull one and knit it. So we'll see. I mean, but try as I might, I did end up with about 4 pinks left towards the end that I did then try to sort of spread out. So I think sometimes it's easy to kind of overthink it and actually kind of cause yourself more issues than if you'd just kind of gone with it. So as long as I mix the colours up nicely, hopefully I should get a good spread of colours. But yeah, so I'm thoroughly enjoying this. I would highly recommend the pattern to anybody who has been looking at it. I pre-ordered this pattern, I think, or bought it like the day it came out. I can't remember, but I've had it since it came out and I haven't knit it. I have intended to knit it and never got around to it. I don't usually buy patterns until I like am about to cast them on. I don't necessarily knit them all the way through to the end, but usually I buy a pattern with the intention of casting it on. And off the back of the summer sorrel that I made, that's also by Wool and Pine Designs, I was like, I want more of their patterns. I am going to buy this one, I'm going to cast it on, and then I just never did, because I was just like, I need to plan this out. I need to know exactly what colours I'm going to use where. But finally we are here, and I have a beautiful little t-shirt on the go. I used, so one of the minis from the advent calendar, it's the Homespun House advent calendar from last year. I don't think I mentioned that. And one of the colours was this one, which is barley, and it is one of their regular colourway. So I ordered a 50-gram skein to hopefully have enough to do the collar, which was from the mini, and then I'm hoping to get it to be about this length, so like elbow length, I think, or maybe just past my elbow, and then I'll do the ribbing there in barley. And then I haven't decided on length of t-shirt yet. I want it to be, I wear a lot of high-waisted jeans if I'm wearing jeans, and I wear dungarees, so I want something that's kind of like gonna fall below the like swoop of the dungaree, but isn't gonna be like too long, because I feel like if I knit things and they go down to like my hips, then they often like roll up, because my hips like are a lot wider than my torso. I want something that's gonna sort of brush the top of my hips rather than be like straight down trying to like cover my bum. I don't want it to be long, is what I'm trying to say, but I don't want it to be too short. I'm imagining it's going to be a really nice like autumn t-shirt, or like long sleeve t-shirt, for when it's starting to get a bit cooler. Yeah, I think it's going to be too warm for summer, and the colours are not right for like a summer t-shirt. But yeah, I am very much enjoying this. So, and what I'm doing, a bit more info, is I am using a mini and this yarn, which is some yarn I dyed, I don't know when, last year, and I'm working the colour work pattern with this and the other one as my like two colours, and then I do a round, one round per mini. So I have a reasonable amount of like tails to deal with, but I've been doing the weave and steven, and that's been working fine. Some of these I've like pulled extra through to try and close a little gap that I was having here. Thank you to people who did some recommendations on how I can try and avoid the gap. I feel like I'm at a point where I don't want to change where I'm changing the colour. People were saying like, oh, stagger the colour change, but now I feel like I've done enough changing the colour there that I don't want to change it yet. Maybe once I've split for the sleeves and I'm into the body, I might think about changing it, but right now I'm going to stick with what I've got. So yeah, so I think once I've gone through all of the minis once, then I will go back, just tidy up some of these ends. Some of them I've forgotten to weave in for very long, so I just need to go and sew those in. and yeah, cut any extra loose ends, just to keep on top of my ends because they can get out of hand very quickly. So that is that one. I haven't got like a permanent project bag for it yet, but I've been using this one, which is one that I bought at a craft fair like years and years ago, and I like it. It just doesn't like close very easily. It's kind of also, yeah, see, it's kind of, I don't know what's happened, but it's got really long ribbons. Yeah, it's quite stiff, and it's not quite big enough for the project because I've got like 2 bags going on at once. So it's fine for now, but I will need to buy something else soon. So yeah. Oh, acquisitions. I'm like looking out the window a little bit because we've not had the post today, and I'm still expecting a couple of things. So I'm like looking in the hopes that maybe they arrive while I'm recording. Just realised you're really far away today, so sorry about that. I received my Patreon minis. I'm not showing the minis yet, but here we are. They come in this sweet little bag, and these are the February minis, which I think might mean that I've got one more to come, because I think March was the last month that I was subscribed at that level. But yeah, right, so I'm about to get them out. So if you get the mini sets from a Homespun House Patreon tier, whatever it is, then and you haven't received yours yet, or you haven't opened them yet, then look away now and I'm going to show them. These are so pretty. They are called Something Pretty, Puddle Jumper and Bubblegum. And they are away now. So yeah, those are lovely. They'll go into my habitation throw. I was really surprised actually when I finished my blanket. I'd kind of imagined that I was going to immediately pick up and work loads on one of my other blankets, and I haven't really. I do really want to do a bit more work on my gamer crafting blanket, because the next lot of minis will be coming very soon, and I haven't finished the third square yet, so I've got one half finished, and then I've got another mini to knit up before the next one's coming. I was kind of wanting to be like up to date when the new minis came, so that I didn't end up with loads of minis hanging around. But because I'm knitting a pattern with some like lace work, like every round is different, so I have to keep checking the pattern. I don't really store patterns in my head very well, and I have some reading of knitting ability, but if I try really hard and focus a lot, then I can read my knitting to kind of guess what the pattern is supposed to do next. But it's too much effort. I don't knit to like concentrate deeply on what I'm doing. So yeah, I need to find time when I am in that like nice point between wanting something to concentrate on. Yeah, I don't know what the other side of that is. I want to work on it, but I also don't want to have to concentrate. I also want to be able to concentrate. I need to drink more coffee, I think. Is that better? We'll see. But yeah, so that is something I would like to work on. So I've got things like this one is just bringing me so much joy, and also is really easy to work on, and so it is like yeah, just really easy to pick up, and I'm just loving it so much that I kind of am like, well, why would I knit anything else? But I want to also knit other things, so yeah. So I'm like, don't, having like, you know, going back to what I said last week, don't put pressure on myself to knit things that I don't actually want to knit. But when I have got like 4 things that I really want to be working on, I'm like, well, I don't have 4 sets of hands. And also like both of my like, well, all 3 of my like jobs, I can't knit while I'm doing them. So when I'm like out of the house at my like proper job, I can't knit when I'm there. And then my other like from home jobs, my like little businesses, are one of them's sewing, and I can't sew and knit at the same time, and one of them is lino cut, and I can't lino cut and knit at the same time. Sorry, I just kicked you there. Yeah, yarn and ink do not mix, so yeah. But anyway, and I need to be a grown-up today and do some actual grown-up things like laundry and work. I've got craft fair coming up. I've kind of slipped into life stuff now. Welcome to my life. Let's talk about life stuff. I've got a craft fair coming up at the end of April, which is like a seconds and samples fair. So everything, or the majority of the stuff on my stall has to be on sale, and it can be functional but not perfect. And at some point last year, I cut out a load of little like dungarees, and then when I started sewing them up, I realised that I'd cut some of them out upside down, so the pattern was upside down, and I haven't had the time to sew those up, because it's like when you cut out 6 dungarees all upside down, and I'd planned everything out so that I was on track for getting everything finished for the craft fair that I was working towards at Christmas, and it was like suddenly not having 6 dungarees, it was like, no, I can't afford to sew these up when I can't sell them. So and I think at that point I had applied for this craft fair in April, so I knew that there was a potential that there was going to be time to sell them later. Otherwise I would have just made them and put them on my stall and sold them cheap. But because I knew there was like an opportunity to sell them later, I just like put them to one side and didn't waste any like time and energy on them. But now we're coming up to that. I did a fair last weekend, and so everything that's left over pretty much from that fair will be on sale at this fair in April, and then I'll make up these other things to sell as seconds. Yeah, because I know that there will be people who will not mind the pants upside down, because you can go to Primark and sure you're spending considerably less, but they're not handmade. So yeah, and I mean, you can go to Primark, you can go to a lot of high street shops actually and find that if you look closely, somewhere the patterns are upside down because they just want to get as much out of the fabric as they can. So I don't think people will be too bothered, and obviously it'll be labelled to say that it's not perfect but still functional. I don't know if you can hear that, but my cat is somewhere. I can't see her, but she's snoring really loud. Sometimes she sleeps in the pushchair, which is quite sweet. So that's that. I also need to like sort of prepare myself and the house for the fact that we're about to have our like Easter break from school, and so both the children will be here most of the time, and yeah, I've not really thought about, this is like our first time through the school year with a child in school, so like up until this point, both of the children have been in childcare, but that runs all year round. Like they either had a childminder or they've been at a year-round nursery, and so we've never had the like break at Easter stuff. Yeah, I mean, childminders do take time off, but yeah, this is like this time through the school year is the first time that we're kind of like, oh yeah, Christmas, what's happening? Easter, what's happening? And I haven't been organised. And some people are really organised and I am not. So I haven't planned anything yet. And I know that our eldest is going to go to the nursery that he used to go to and that Rory now goes to. They do like a holiday club for older ones. So he will go to that for a couple of days. And then we've got my in-laws are coming for a few days, but that's like at the end of next week. Or no, not the end of next week, the week after Easter, the end of that week, so 2 weeks from now. They are coming for like the weekend. Yeah, I haven't planned anything else. I think it's all weather dependent, and I don't want to go really far or like pay loads of money for I don't know, we might go to the zoo because we've got passes for the zoo, but there's lots of things like you know, about an hour away is like a dinosaur adventure park, and it's a nice walk around, but you are paying just to walk around and look at dinosaurs, like obviously not real dinosaurs, and so it's kind of, yeah, there's a couple of bits that Rory's a little bit little for, so if I take them on my own, then I can't really help Aiden, like, and even like things like miniature golf, Aiden's still a bit little for that, and Rory definitely is. So maybe Aiden probably isn't too little for miniature golf, but Rory is too little for miniature golf. So it's that balance. So I'll probably do like go into the city and like maybe go to the castle and those kind of things. Actually, a friend of mine said that there was something on somewhere, so I must message her and ask her to remind me what that was. And we discovered like a really good soft play, which is like quite small and contained, so they can both run around together, but it's not too big for Rory, but Aiden still finds it exciting, because some of them, either the baby bit is like too little and then it's like miles away from the big kid bit, and the big kid bit is like goes so deep that I wouldn't be happy letting Aiden and Rory run around like without me. But they really enjoy having the freedom to just disappear off, but I can still like mostly see them and like get to them. It's not like I've gone this way and ended up over here. Like some soft plays just like stress me out, but this one is a nice one, but it usually fills up really quickly. But maybe I need to have a look and see if there's any free spaces. What else is there to say? I don't know if I mentioned that I was doing a sign language course. I think I might have mentioned that I was doing sign language course. Yeah, so Wednesday nights in like a village hall not too far, I go and I'm learning sign language, and I'm really enjoying that. So I think it was last Wednesday, I had my second assessment and I thought it went really badly. I was really like disappointed. Yeah, I don't know why. It just felt like, it's hard because you're having a conversation about a specific thing and it doesn't flow naturally. Like it's not how people have conversations. So that's difficult. And sometimes I often find that I kind of like start going down a path, and then I'm like, I don't know how to sign what it is that I want to say, so I end up being like, oh sorry, I've kind of my knowledge of signing has run out now, which obviously is not what you want in an assessment. Thankfully that didn't happen, but it was because I was like cautious to like go into topics. I was like trying to think. She would ask me a question and then I was like, what do I know about this? How far can I go? When I really probably should have just gotten on with it. But anyway, and I was gonna have like a moan about it last Friday and I decided not to, and I'm really glad that I decided not to, because I got a text message Tuesday evening from my tutor to say you passed. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so pleased. I don't have to do that one again. Yeah, so that was nice. So yeah, and then I've got, so we're breaking for Easter, and then I've got like 4 lessons left, and then I've got my final assessment, and then in theory I'll pass and I'll have a level 1 qualification in BSL, which will be exciting. And that's like introductory, I guess. And then I've signed up to do level 2, so excited. Yeah, I think that's everything I have to say. See, I said I didn't have a lot to talk about, and by my timer it's like almost 40 minutes. I can talk and talk. So yeah, so I'm gonna go now and do my adulting, and then hopefully have a bit of time to knit as well. Yeah, I need to do some adulting. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.